What's up guys? Today we are making a super simple, I would call it 2-ingredient crepes. It's a little bit too easy, so we're also gonna make a pretty cool like jelly, jam, raspberry filling. This recipe kind of applies to any berry you wanna use. It's gonna be a chia seed based jam. So we're gonna do chia seeds and raspberries. So we're making some really basic crepes, but we're gonna actually start with the jam because that takes a little bit longer. In a saucepan, we're gonna heat 6 ounces of raspberries, just one standard sized carton. And to that, we're gonna add a 1/4 cup of water. And we're just gonna throw this on the stovetop on like medium-high heat. And once that starts getting up to temperature, you're gonna wanna mash the raspberries down a little bit. We'll get to that when the time comes. So right here, we're gonna start making the crepe recipe. So this is 4 ounces of cream cheese. This is a really simple recipe. You can use this, pancakes, crepes, whatever you wanna make. 1 ounce of cream cheese per egg. And the key to make this recipe really good is you need the cream cheese to be at room temperature, which this is. And then you're gonna need your eggs to also be at room temperature. These eggs were not at room temperature, and a little trick here, I just put them in some hot water for about 3 minutes, and they'll be a little bit closer to room temperature. If they're both at room temperature, they combine really well. If one's cold and one's kind of warm, then you'll get some chunks in the batter. Okay, so I'm gonna add the 4 eggs to the cream cheese. Another cool thing about this recipe is we're only going to be using stevia for the sweetener. So to add a little bit of flavor to this crepe batter, I'm going to do some vanilla extract. And if you want the full measurements for everything, the link to this recipe is in the description of this video. And with all our recipes, guys, they're always linked in the description of the video. And if you go to ketoconnect.net, you can search through our archive of recipes. We got like probably 200 so far. And then we're going to add 15 drops of stevia to the crepe batter. That is what's going to give it a nice light amount of sweetness. If you want to add a little more to make it sweeter, go for it. We got to come over here to the mixing station. So there's all the ingredients, and just give this a mix until it's one homogeneous mixture. Okay, so I'm going to switch attachments here to hopefully get it less clumpy, but in the meantime, come on over to the raspberries. So these are kind of bubbling up, percolating a little bit. You're going to want to mash them. We want to make this a jelly. And they mash pretty easily once they heat through, so this is actually about done. Yeah, so I'm going to pull this off the heat. You can see the berries are pretty well cooked through. They mix easily. They're easy to break up. So the reason we had to do this part first is because it takes about 15 to 20 minutes for it to thicken up. Now we want this to be a little bit sweet too, so we're going to add 15 drops of stevia in here. And then we're gonna add 2 tablespoons of chia seeds once you pull it off the heat. And this is what makes it thick. And then just kind of stir that in. Once you get it all kind of covered, just set this aside and it'll thicken up over the course of the next 10 to 15 minutes. Now let's get working on these crepes. Okay, that's pretty good. You're always gonna be left with some clumps. I've never gotten it to be like a perfect mixture, but look how thin it is. It's a very thin mixture. That's what you're looking for crepes. I have what is my most trusty non-stick pan. These will have some problems with sticking, so that's why I'm using that pan. And here's a little trick. I say everything's a trick, don't I? So this is a 6-inch skillet. I do like using a little bit of spray for crepes. It makes it a lot easier. You can use like butter or ghee or whatever you want also. And then I like doing about a 1/4 cup for this amount, maybe a little less. Just get it to evenly coat the bottom of the pan. And then pro tip here, cover it. That allows it to cook on top at the same time as it's cooking on bottom, so it's easy to flip. Okay, so let's go a little thinner here. That last one was too thick. Then you're gonna wanna spread it around. There we go, perfect. That's how you do crepes. Okay guys, real quick, let's talk about the ability to flip these crepes, because I know we have that tortilla recipe. A lot of you guys have trouble flipping it. I think if you get a nice thin layer on the bottom of the pan and then you make sure it's cooked all the way through, 90% of the time if you're having trouble flipping it, it's just because it hasn't cooked enough yet. But give it time and you'll be able to flip it. And honestly, like if you use a smaller pan, like this is a 6-inch nonstick pan, that is gonna be easier than like a 10-inch, a 12-inch pan. So we are gonna make the rest of these. We'll be back, we'll show you the jelly and then we'll taste it. Okay, here we are guys. I didn't make them all, but it's gonna make about 10 total crepes. We got 5 here. And we got the sauce. It's set. It'll set better if you just put it in the fridge for about an hour, but you can see like it's pretty thick. I don't think we're quite to Nicki Minaj yet, but we're probably like somewhere around, who else is on the thickness meter? I think you got Kim on there, right?
Chloe.
Chloe? Chloe's not that thick, right?
Deceivingly thick.
She is? Okay, so pretty thick. And then, so here's the crepes. You can see they come out in all shapes and sizes. But they're pretty, like, I pretty consistently come away with, you know, some solid crepes. I'm just gonna serve up your basic crepe a la mode. I think a la mode means ice cream, but, or what does a la mode mean? On top of or something? I'm just gonna put a nice layering of jelly. This is the way I like to do it. I'm more of like an on-the-go eater. I'm not really a sit down and eat a plate full of crepes type of guy. I'm gonna do a thin pinwheel style roll. Let's give this a try. Wow. Okay, so I don't eat a lot of fruit at all. Raspberry, super delicious, pretty tart, but also incredibly sweet tasting. Not a bunch of artificial stuff. You're just using some raspberries, using really simple ingredients for the crepe. And one thing I do like to top this with sometimes, I'll give you guys a little secret right here. Sugar-free whipped heavy cream. Sarah, what brand is this? Land O'Lakes. Julius is getting excited. So just put a little whipped cream on there. Good boy. And that's all there is to it, guys. I think this is a really great recipe to make with your kids, like a brunch. Maybe make some muffins, maybe some bacon, maybe a little eggs. Have like a real nice Sunday brunch. That's all there is to it. Crepe Suzette. Not crepe Suzette, but just crepes with raspberry jelly. It's really good.